And Stephen Bubbelow, I believe it could be live.
I hope so.
Live in the USA. Okay. Hey, everyone. We are live from the Novak studio without Cooney Corona here, obviously. We're a bit worried about that. It's a big topic we want to talk about today and how it relates. Stephen Bubbelow, welcome.
Corona-free zone, guys. Good to see you all.
Talk to us.
Interesting few weeks here in Australia, and hearing a lot of different things out there and how they relate to obviously different aspects of our lives. Not only family and your kids, but obviously business, how businesses have been impacted. What's this mean for the real estate industry? What's this mean for you if you're buying or selling, or you're a tenant or you're a landlord? So we're going to talk about a few of these things tonight, just to try to help you understand, what we think of the situation, how we're seeing it on this side of the camera.
And the world's rapidly changed in 1 week. And for a reference, guys, I've been away on a bicycle in Thailand doing 550 Ks with Michael Bergio and Pravin Vala. Unfortunately or fortunately, I've got to see a real snapshot of our property market, of the Corona stuff that's been happening and how that's changed.
Yeah. Wow.
Unbelievable, eh?
How's it differed for you now? When you left, what do you think? It's only a week, mind you, that you've been gone.
Yeah, but it's changed a lot. I reckon it was, in terms of consuming us as real estate agents and consuming, the populace.
Yeah.
Maybe 20, 30%, when I left. And I reckon it's now probably a good 70 or 80%.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Like just in the office today,
just people talking about it.
Dealing with people, not shaking hands.
Yeah.
Hitting each other with our legs, our feet, shaking with our feet. It's an incredible world. And guys, how's that going to change property? How's that going to change we get shit done is what Steve and I wanted to talk to you about, because I think it's a lot of fat is being cut out of our assets, our asset classes, the way we do things, the way we operate, the way we move around, the way we integrate, the way we spend, the way we don't spend.
Definitely the way we spend. Look at the supermarkets. God, everyone's going crazy out there for things that you wouldn't have gone crazy about. I know that's not what you're talking about, but
mate, I'm talking about all of it. I'm talking about all of it.
So you're right.
Yeah, like the supermarket, Steve, you mentioned, and guys, and I've had a lot of time to think about this. It's trying to work out the toilet paper thing, but with supermarkets, Steve, the non-essentials, people are just like, packets of chips or foods that are non-essential, they're being left on the shelf. Essential items, they're being stolen. Fought after off the shelves. And I think that's a supermarket, Steve's a really good habitual or way to look at, understand how society's working. And I think we can actually stamp that across to any sort of part. Travel, non-essentials travel, people are just chopping it. Holidays, not essential, not essential. Holidays, not essential, chop. Stock market. I think anyone who has had investments in the stock market that have thought these aren't quite essential for me to have in order to survive, sell the shares. Shares have gone bang. Property.
What is essential? Property. You're always going to need somewhere to live, regardless. Whether you own or you rent, you're going to need a property.
Clearance rates were at 80% on Saturday.
Maybe even a little bit stronger.
So 48 hours ago, we recorded a
80% clearance rate.
80% clearance rate. So I guess you could say finitely that it's an essential part of what we do.
And I think also, no doubt we'll talk about a bit more, is that people are looking for confidence. When you're in the stock market and you come out and the market moves down, we're talking about it. The money doesn't disappear; it just moves into another avenue or from one bucket into another bucket, and everyone's looking for more secure buckets, if I can use the term that way. And obviously, real estate can't get much more secure. So it's going to be interesting.
It's bloody incredible. I'd like to welcome Vel Danelovich. He's said on Facebook.
Good to see you. Hope you're well.
Lise, it's Stav. G'day, Commercial Jungle. What do you guys reckon? Vanessa Barry. Hello, Fort Media, you legends supporting us. James, how are you, buddy? But you know, it's very interesting, mate. And you know what? I think it's like, you know, we've got 40 odd agents that work in the office, and I think every single opening conversation today that we had with clients, or every client wanted to know, is everything okay with property? And the question, you know, the answers were pretty consistent. I think listening to everyone on the teams, you know, rentals, sales, commercial, everyone's going, how's it going? Is everything okay? How are you guys being affected? What was your finding from that?
You know what, I'm of the opinion where last week an 80% clearance rate. So 4 out of 5 properties that went to auction sold at auction. That's huge. That's huge. And now if you factor that into properties that weren't on the market as under an auction campaign, if you looked at the total number, I can guarantee you it would have been 80% of the properties, you know, that were lining up was selling as well. How do I see it? Look, if I'm a property buyer, the last 4 months haven't been too good for me as a buyer. I'm taking the role as a buyer because there hasn't been a lot of property out there.
Been pumped,
right? There's been a lot of buyers, not a lot of property, and people are obviously, you know, we're very influenced by what we read in the paper, what we see on our phones, you know, different media outlets. And I think if you're a buyer and the majority of the market is about to take a step back, you're going to keep that mentality that I'm going to buy a property, because if 80% of your competition just walks away, you know, you've just improved your chances. So that's how I see it.
I thought it was pretty violent what the RBA did. I thought it was very aggressive what the RBA did. I thought in such a hot and such a rising market, for the RBA to come along and deliver another interest rate reduction, I thought, what are you guys doing?
And 6 months ago, you probably wouldn't have thought they were going to do that.
I even thought you guys should maybe have just kept that up your sleeve and seen how this plays out. But I think very, very cleverly, I think they shored up and they propped up, you know, a very sound part of the market. The asset class of property is very close to our hearts.
Yeah.
The asset class of property is does affect consumer sentiment more than any other asset class. So I guess you could almost say more people, more Australians are affected if the property market takes a hit.
Yeah, right.
And it could potentially send us into a downward spiral. So I thought them delivering the message was aggressive.
Yeah.
But then as the weeks rolled on, now a week and a half since that delivery, I'm like,
it's a good move.
It's almost 2 weeks actually.
Yeah, it is.
I'm like, you know what, guys, you actually made a really good move. So Reserve Bank, big move, bold move, good for property. But I think consumer confidence has now come off that and thought, okay, we can see who we're backing.
Yeah. And I think the good news today, and again, I don't know how real it is, how valid this is or not, but apparently China's coming out of it. So
I don't believe it.
Yeah, we'll see. But that they're, you know, seeing better improvements, I should say, health-wise over there. And if that is the case, then you can see that this is like a 2-3 month cycle that they've witnessed.
Yep.
So as a buyer, jump in. As a seller, again, if you could flip the coin over, and if a lot of people are saying, I'm not going to go to market now because I don't know what's going to go on, the competition is going to drop as well. But I mean,
but guys, think about this. You know, Steve, think about this.
I'm going to jump into the real estate.
Who gives a shit how good, how like it's going to happen, right? Now, whether it happens on scale or doesn't happen on scale, when I'm looking back in 1 year or 3 years or 15 years or 25 years, the lesson's the same across the whole way, guys.
Yeah.
And that's, for me, I'm looking across the market and saying, you know, the non-essential items in my life, the non-essential items in people's lives, they are the things that very, very quickly get discarded. People will just wipe themselves clean of any of those things that are non-essential. Now, we've found today, and we've had a couple, we actually had a Corona meeting in the office today. A lot of conversations from a lot of very clever people that work at Novak. And the one fundamental thing that we as an industry, we'd like to regard ourselves as industry leaders. Sometimes we get awarded for it, but as industry leaders, I'll take that title. we looked at it and said, okay, well, that's the case. Like, there's things that you can change as a real estate agent, and there's things that you can't, right? So the whole medical side of that, we can't really change the outcome of Corona, right? That sort of rests with me. Government, medical, those guys are good. But what we can change in our industry is the way we react. And that was the meeting we had in our office today, and the way we react to this environment that we're currently in, and how we can actually make the place a better place given what's happening.
Yeah.
And part of what we spoke about today was property survival tactics, quick, fast, free, quick, fast, free, quick, fast, free. So we looked at it and thought, you know what, the reality is in this sort of environment, in order to support people's emotions, the quick, fast, and free is what people want.
Yeah.
So an auction campaign that's going to last for 4 or 5 weeks, as a seller's probably not going to want to get wrangled up in that. And probably as a buyer, they're not going to want to get wrangled up in that either. There's too much uncertainty on that. Yeah. We're selling certainty now at the moment. It's more important in life than ever. So auction campaigns, we sort of made a conscious decision to not roll out and deliver new campaigns into the market, but to make it quick, free, and easy for prospective purchasers and sellers to actually transact if they want to.
Yeah.
And they're transacting at a good rate.
Look, people are out there, you've been searching the markets, but at the same time, this is what our vendors have been coming back to us as well. I just brought to market a brand new listing in Warriewood, and my owners were, they actually brought up these points with me. I didn't have the conversation with them. They were saying, look, Steve, we want to sell the property. Obviously, they've got a price in mind, but, we don't want everybody coming through. They're quite conscious about what's happening out there, but exactly what you said. We just want a quick sale, not a cheap sale, but a good sale. That's no stress. And that's what we deliver.
Where are they going to take their money when they pull it out?
They're going to downsize and put it back in a property.
Northern Beaches?
So, yeah, absolutely.
Just downsizes.
Downsizes at that age.
So people are still doing deals. We're still selling a lot of property. We're still renting a lot of property. They're doing good deals because you're locking in your interest now at 2.5, 2.7%. So if you can get in, I think that the message is I'm actually buying a car at the moment. And then, when I was buying it, it was like, how they have the balloon payments?
Yes.
They asked me 2 weeks ago, how do you want to do your balloon payments? And I said, look, I'm going to, this is really interesting. I'm going to put in a lot of cash, and I'm going to have a really, no balloon payment at the end, small repayments. So anyway, the car's coming on Friday. It's a Tesla, everyone. It's a Tesla. Car's coming on Friday. Had the discussion today. What was my answer today? I could vary. I didn't make that decision. I could vary it. So he gave me 2 scenarios last week. I was confident that was my scenario. My scenario today was preserve my cash. So I was like, because the loan, if you're getting one of those a Tesla, they'll do a loan. I think it's 3.6 or 3.8% for a car.
Wow.
And I'm thinking that's actually cheaper than investment money out there at the moment. And I'm thinking, you know what? Give me all the money. Give me all the money. Let me preserve cash so I don't have to put any money into it. So over a 3 year period at 50%, you have to, that's the balloon payment at the end.
Yeah.
But it just goes to show, I would regard myself as I've been a business person, an agent for 30 years and in business for 20 years. I had a big swing in my whole attitude. And I think that's what people are doing.
Yeah.
I think that's what people are doing. They're preserving their cash. Essential items. Now, I probably would have binned the car if I could have binned the car, but it was already pre-ordered.
I don't think you're going to bin the car.
I could have binned the car. I thought about binning the car. Who we got here on the Governorello, Fab, best cleaner in the world, commercial jungle cleaner. Guys, what do you think out there? What are you doing with your money? Going back to our topic, quick, fast, free, property survival tactics, how people are thinking in the past couple of weeks, and how we're transposing that over to how people are equally thinking in the next couple of weeks Property seems solid. What else? Any questions, guys? Here we go. We've got Lisa Novak on here.
Quick, fast, free.
Quick, fast, free. Park your money somewhere. Adam Nassif is there. Best value on the Northern Beaches. Amol is there. How are you, legend? Michael Edwards. People just need to breathe. Be patient. Be good people. If anyone needs help out there. Now, Michael Edwards has had his highs and his lows, and as a result has probably made him more humble than most people out there. That's good advice that he's giving. People just need to breathe, be patient, and be good people. You know what? I reckon being good people, it's a big one, mate. Good on you for that. Because it's essential.
And one thing I've noticed, which is now going to be a little bit off topic, is how quickly people can be turned into this, I won't quite say frenzy, but almost that's what it's like. You see everybody rushing out to buy toilet paper.
Puppets.
How quickly this media can change things. And, once the green light's on, they're going to be changing and you're going to be rushing in to buy other items. So,
well,
it's crazy. I was really surprised to see how quickly the general public was, just turned into this machine. Everyone's running out buying toilet paper.
And this morning's, and as I was saying before earlier, we had a Corona meeting in the office, and something that I it was very hard actually to deliver because I didn't want to sound insensitive to people. But what's really interesting is how much of your time and your life you can actually consume. Okay, so it's a Sunday.
We're talking about it now.
Yeah, here we go again.
Yeah.
Well, it's relevant. It's a Sunday. Yesterday, you got your kids you don't spend a lot of time with during the week because they're at school.
Yeah.
You've got life going past you a million hours. Now, I can guarantee you that most Australians yesterday consumed half of their day, 3 to 6 hours of their day, talking about running in circles.
Yeah.
They were no more educated or less educated, whether they spent 15 minutes or 6 hours on the topic. The basics were there. Stay away from people. Don't transmit. There was the basics are out there. But I think that we're all going to be really careful. And going back to what we're doing at Novak Quick, Fast and Free, is what we've got to be really careful with is not for it to be all consuming. And going back to what you were saying, Steve, about that sheep mentality, that whole sheep mentality is just white noise. So what I think the really clever operators in the marketplace are doing, whether it's stock market, whether it's property, whatever the asset class may be, even if it's supermarket, what the clever people are doing is focusing on feeding the animal of essential items.
Yeah.
Essential items. They are not getting absorbed into white noise, cheap talk, cheap shit research, consuming themselves on rubbish. They are just focusing on the facts, as Lisa Novak said this morning.
Yep.
She loves 2GB. She listened to it this morning. Focusing on the facts, focusing what's essential. And ladies and gentlemen, at Novak, we are property people. It is definitely essential. Netflix. I know it's entertainment, but it's becoming an essential part of life.
It is. You buy some shares in Netflix. It's probably about to jump if it hasn't already. It's probably too late to get in.
Deliveroo, Uber Eats.
Yeah.
You know, getting your food delivered, I think there's part of, well, one, it's a bit essential because it's food. Two, if you were taking that spend away, going out to a restaurant or a bar, you're now going to equally take that spend and probably going to treat your kids to a nice meal from a restaurant who's going to deliver in.
I've got a question for you. So just say hypothetically now more people start using Deliveroo, Netflix, Uber Eats. Once this picture's behind us, coronavirus, how many people do you think are going to stay using those services? I personally think a lot.
Yeah.
I think people are going to get used to it. They're going to develop this habit of using these new systems. I think we're kind of on the fringe of, it's not new technology, but I think you're going to see a lot of the old school mentality moving across to these new platforms. And I think that's going to translate to real estate as well. just the way we're doing business.
So I was in Bangkok this time last week, and the conversation was,
Well, you're on the front line, obviously, with them over there.
yeah, those guys
What they're doing.
those guys, the media guys that we work with there, are the media partners that lead Australia into all of this. They are saying that the future of real estate, I'm going to come back to your question in a sec, Adam. They are saying the future of real estate is that people will transact towards the purchase online. They will look at the property. They will see every element and aspect of the property. Lee Woodward calls his service web books, all the way down to the fact of the buy it now figure. You want to buy it now, there's your figure. You can buy it now and put in your credit card details.
Wow.
So, I think when we realise that's the way we're going to be doing business, the old-fashioned ways. Adam Nassif has asked a question here. How have open numbers been? How have inquiries been over the past week compared to the last month? And has there been any drop? Can you answer that one for us, Steve?
I haven't seen anything personally. Look, I mean, in the world of real estate, it always comes down to the property you're carrying and how well it's priced for the market. Inquiry rates have been pretty stable. The weekend did seem a little bit quieter with a few properties, but on the flip side, some of them were absolutely crazy again. So I think it's maybe a little bit too early to tell. We'll see where it is in the next probably 7 to 10 days, maybe something we can talk about next week. But all indicators from last weekend are that the market is still moving quite strongly.
Same numbers that so we're seeing Adam, we're seeing the same numbers at the open houses haven't dropped off.
No.
Are you just saying that because you're a real estate agent?
No, I'm honest. I'm honest with you.
You're the most
I'm the most honest guy here.
Oh.
Sorry, man.
Dog.
Sorry.
Luke Moroney has asked, has said, lots will use Uber Eats Deliveroo. Can people afford it? I think those companies are thriving. I think the answer is probably one, they've survived, and
they'll always have a product to meet the market. You know, if demand changes, somehow they'll restructure a product.
Yeah, and there's actually more. Our biggest cost, Luke, was accommodation. It has been our biggest cost. Our accommodation cost as a property owner is almost a third of what it used to be. You know, it's 70% less. Your mortgage is 70% less. Your biggest fundamental cost is 70% less. I think it's scary because it's a false economy, because they will go up eventually. If you look at the fixed rates, it's maybe 3 to 7 to 10 years away. I don't think they're going to go back to where they were if you look at the long-term bonds. But to answer Luke's very, very good question about Uber Eats and Deliveroo and the way people are spending, I think food preparation in your home. I definitely know as a real estate agent on the Northern Beaches, and I don't know if you agree with me here, Steve, but I am seeing kitchens get smaller.
Yeah, I agree with that. Definitely.
They're not working as hard as they used to.
Yeah.
And I think our supermarkets and pre-packed goods in supermarkets is more popular than it has ever been.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Our move towards convenience is more than ever.
I think that you could also probably stipulate the same for the backyard. Have a look at what the backyard is now. Yeah. It's not what it was when we were kids.
It's an alfresco outdoor barbecue.
Everyone runs down to the park.
Fan out there, around. Fridge out there.
Yeah.
Rotisserie, smoker, smoking cooker out there. So it's different. It's a bloody different world. So summing up, in conclusion, what are the pillars that we can take away that we've spoken about tonight, Steve? So just to take it from the top, our topic of conversation tonight is property survival tactics. We are using at Novak. Quick, fast, and free. They're the tactics that we're using. Life has now changed, guys. We've got to adapt. So breaking it down, quick, fast, and free. How have we done that in property? And how are people going to do that in their businesses?
So quick, fast, free for us is obviously, like you said, that auction campaign. We're looking, if you're a buyer and there's a hot seller, let's come together and let's do something, as quick as we can. For a homeowner, we're trying to not drag out the timeframes that you've got to be on the marketplace, and free as well. We're trying to make it as easy for you if you're a home seller or a home buyer to make that decision, to make that selling decision, the buying decision. I want to go to market as easy as possible. When it's free, we can move straight away as well.
Yep.
So I think,
well, that's a nice thing. So realestate.com owners don't have the money to waste or the patience in this changing daily market. So for us to hit them on social, hit them on our database, it costs them nothing. It's free.
As a buyer too.
Where our business has gone like that in terms of listings, because we're the free option. They dominates and gets a great price.
And the prices are phenomenal.
And if they don't like the price, they go, okay, let's go on realestate.com.
market.
Also closing up, Adam Nassif says, last time seen the financial market drop, GFC, home stock, Palm Beach homes that people got rid of, Scotland Island homes people got rid of, non-essential items. They were sold in fire sales, margin calls, because margin calls were stocks. People had dumped stocks, margin calls were pulled in, money went to property. Shed some light on comments about electricity prices frozen. We're doing electricity tonight as well. Do you know anything about that?
I don't. Sorry, I can't help you.
Computer says no on that one, but thank you for your question, Vanessa. We'll do some research towards and have a look. Frank Lavotti, g'day and hello. Everyone else, we hope we've helped you talking about what's happening on the coalface of Novak, what we're doing in our business to support these ever crazy changes that are happening. Kim, g'day. Damien, g'day. Commercial Jungle, no audio.
We were working
What do you
on
know? Audio.
No
Audio let us down.
Maybe it's there. I don't know.
Audio let us down. We'll see.
Follow us on Facebook.
Follow us on Facebook. Hopefully, Commercial Jungle said it a couple of times. Can't hear, but looks like he's the only one. Maybe sometimes that happens. Have a listen later. Love you guys. Steve, what do you want to sign out on?
I just want to say that you've purposely avoided Lisa Novak's comment down here.
Ooh. Says
she's been stockpiling shoes and handbags. Essentials or not essentials? Lisa, you've got
Lisa's handbags and
hard
shoes,
questions.
Non-essential. You should be able to get past in life with one pair of shoes and zero handbag. Plastic Woolies bag should get you there the whole way, or Aldi, or Costco.
You might be on the couch tonight, huh?
On the couch. Mate, take care.
Definitely. Good to see you again.
No worries. Good to see you, buddy. Hope we helped you tonight, guys. Love you. Thank you for your comments that went off tonight. You guys are legends.
See you soon.
Cheers.
Thanks,
bye,
guys.
Bye.
Bye.
I did talk. I'm going to do Insta Stevie. Oh. Oh. What's the sound on that?